The Social Democratic Party, the SDP, has recorded huge gains with the formal defection of top politicians from the People's Democratic Party and other groups.
Now, among the defectors were Professor Jerry Gana, Professor Tunde Adeniro and Rufai Alkali, who were presented at the unveiling of a reorganized SDP National Working Committee in Abuja.
TVC News senior correspondent Samna Sambo reports.
At this unveiling of the new National Working Committee of the rejigged Social Democratic Party, SDP, members are all smiles as they unveil defectors from other political parties and groups. Top defectors to the SDP include founding fathers of Nigeria's former ruling party and now major opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP.
Chief Olufala he went to Yale.
Professor Jerry Gana is leading the pack and promises that more top politicians are set to make the SDP their new home due to its ideological stance to restructure Nigeria.
The Social Democratic Party, which has now become the vehicle adopted by all of us that are desirous of a new political order in Nigeria, a political order that would ensure restructuring. So many movements are coming into this platform. They love the name because that is the political philosophy that defines their own. The April Convention is really to harmonize and make sure that all of these are fused together. Then we present to Nigerians a huge movement that will move. When it moves, some people will shake. When it moves,
After unveiling Chief Olufalaye as national chairman of the new SDP, Shehu Gabam as secretary, and other members of the NWC, the party promised to focus on redevelopment of Nigeria's economy and rejig the fight against corruption.
We have tried various parties. From what we see, they are one and the same. So one of the effective antidotes to stealing and to fighting corruption is to have a national economic development plan. And by the grace of God, if you put us in government, we shall reintroduce development planning and the discipline that goes with it. I promise you that no member of our party in government will touch public funds. Whoever does so will be disciplined by the party itself before EFCC or the police.
Give us a chance, and that's all we're asking. Let's prove ourselves.
The SDP had been in existence in the aborted Third Republic, with Chief MKO Abiola emerging winner of the 1993 presidential election under its platform, until a military annulment led to its demise. These party leaders, consisting mostly of academic politicians, played a key role during that time. Hence their decision to coalesce and revive the ideologies of the SDP. Somna Sambo, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, we have joining us now from our Abuja studio, the chieftain of the Social Democratic Party and the new National Secretary, Shehu Gabam, joining us now. Shehu, good morning and thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast. First of all, let me ask you, we have heard of the name Social Democratic Party before in the early 90s when we had the Third Republic. Tell us, what's the difference between the Social Democratic Party that time and the Social Democratic Party now?
Well, it's very easy. First and foremost, good morning, Azizat and Mike. It's my pleasure to be here. As the name connotes, Social Democratic Party, it's, if you could remember vividly, these are two parties registered by military administration of former President General Ibrahim Babangida, when the nation was tilting towards two political parties. And of course, SDP is a progressive party by principles, by ideology, and by orientation. And then the RRC is conservative by its own ideology and so on and so forth. And of course, you know that the SDP developed a work plan that was so acceptable to every household in Nigeria. And it symbolizes as a party that serves as a rallying point for the unity of Nigeria, for strengthening the political structures of the country, and ensure that every minute tribe, irrespective of where you come from, you have a space to partake and aspire to any position you want to. And it's the only party that have produced a president and a vice president without giving religious dichotomy or ethnicity and so on and so forth. So by its combination and the actors that have projected the party as of then, defined it as a party for national consideration, to rally the unity of Nigeria, strengthen our institutions, and make sure that it's a country that will be developed on the basis of the core value and principles that is enshrined in the constitution of the party and the manifestos of the party. So there's a clear departure from what we have. Even though the ideology of the founding fathers of the PTB is almost similar to the SDP, but you know, along the line, some of these ideologies were drilled because some of the critical people that are managing the political structures are not in tune with those ideologies and are not properly trained on how to manage a political structure. So you have a derailment along the line. And that's what led to the derailment of the PDP. We lost the core values and the core fundamentals that led to the formation of the party by the founding fathers of the party. So it was critical for us to look at some of these things since we find ourselves in another very tight situation politically, and we are trying to redefine the political order, national realignment, in order to save the country from the current political crisis that we are facing. So basically, or in summary, these are some of the different issues or different circumstances at different times that led to some of us that are progressive in nature, socialist in nature, that we have to look at party that is in tandem with some of our philosophy, some of our belief in rejiggling the political situation of the country and ensure that we bring a platform that will key into every household in Nigeria. And therefore, SDP has a household name in virtually every community, no matter how remote the community is. And they have a logo that is easily accessible, a white horse. So these are some of the considerations that we went through when we are going through a turmoil of trying to reshape the political space, that we are facing today.
All right, so all the things you just told us, many Nigerians would say that it won't be the first time they would hear it, that they're used to getting so many promises from politicians before elections, but after that, it's almost usually a different story entirely, and they get disappointed and then they get back to square one. So what is so special about the SDP now that you could say it might be the third force that won't disappoint Nigerians if it gets elected into office?
Well, I think you should know that the responsibility of the political class is to provide a platform that will give every Nigerian a sense of belonging and a sense of participation. If the party is so low-key and so acceptable to every Nigerian voter and is voted into office, it is not just the politician that will also drive the government, including the civil servant. And every Nigerian that finds himself within a corridor of power or executing one policy or the other. So it's not a politician that changes the policy for the sake of changing it. Sometimes people that came into office through such platform that feel, that do not want to adhere to the do's and don'ts of the party are mainly responsible for derailing some of the programs of a political platform. So we, as a party, our responsibility to ensure that these policies are clearly defined, are clearly acceptable to the Nigerian people, and will ensure that we defended it. And I don't think it is possible to continue repeating the mistakes every time and every hour, it means that we have not learned and we are not going to learn. The experience we have with the SDP, I mean with the PDP, and the experience we have with the APC right now shows that clearly there is a departure, there is a paradigm shift in terms of shopping for credible people that are going to mount responsible offices and ensure that they are being monitored clearly and ensure that there will be sanctions. I've been part and parcel of the formation of PDP, and I know the ideology of the founding fathers of the party. And of course, PDP did averagely very well. Yes, there's a place where they mismanaged a lot of things, and they were remorseful about it. But it's a learning process. The democracy that came into the country in 1999, took over from a military regime where a lot of things were disconnected, dislocations here and there. But I believe so far we have done well in stabilizing the political process. What we need to do now is to shop for credible people who believe in moving the country forward, who have sense of nationalism and sense of protectionism of our country and our culture and our tradition to move the country forward. Yes, I know that people are disenchanted with what has been happening in the past, but it is not an excuse for us to remain aloof, not to do something. Some of us that believe in this country, we don't have any other country except Nigeria, will continue to do our best. We'll continue to persuade people to have confidence in the system, to trust the system, and to trust those that were given the responsibility to shape ideas and processes that will lead to building a greater society and a greater nation.
All right, Professor Jerry Gana, Deniro Alkali, and other faithfuls have defected from the PDP into the SDP. This is not the first time politicians are moving here and there from one political party to the other. But what does this mean strategically for someone like Professor Jerry Gana, who is seen as, or who has been one of the founding fathers of the PDP, and who is also not known to be going up and down with political parties? How strategic is this for the SDP when all these political stalwarts are coming into the party?
Well, Mike, I think you need to know this. In 1998, Professor Jerry Gana and co. were part of the intellectual part of PDP, who developed the PDP manifestos and the constitutions of the party. He's a very resourceful person, a highly gifted orator, and of course, so many other people, including Professor Tunde Adeniran and a lot of us. I was the youngest person among the founding fathers of the PDP. So I know the quality of people that have assembled, fulfilled their individual interests or ambition to build an egalitarian society where people can have a space to aspire to whatever position they want in building a country. Two, you talked about leaving PDP as the founding father of the party. Sometimes these things are being forced by situation on ground. Perhaps you need to know that so much effort was put in to rescue the PDP, even before we lost the election. There were a lot of fact findings that went around the country to identify why we are going into a lot of crisis. After we lost the election, another committee was constituted. After a Karamadu committee, the current Deputy Senate President, another committee was inaugurated, headed by Professor Jerry Gana, which is Strategic Committee and Inter-Party Affairs, in which I was a member. Opinions were collected on why we lost the election. And reports were duly submitted to the party for consideration and approval. It was taken to NEC, approved virtually all suggestions that were made. The non-elective convention ratified. But I can tell you, all those things were thrown to the dustbin. You have a party that don't want to reform, don't want to listen to average party faithful who has been disgusted with one sort of behavior or the other. The party continue with its impunity, imposition, rascality, and recklessness in running its own affairs. And some of us would not love the roof to collapse with us. We have done everything humanly possible to push this party forward. If you remember, we went through a lot of judicial issues. We stood firm and protected this party at our own cost without any financial support from the party because of the love of the party. As founding fathers of the party, nobody want to collapse his house. So we did everything that is humanly possible to bring some sort of reform into the PDP. It failed. And therefore, we look at the current situation, the political space, the crisis, the security breaches here and there, and we felt that we have another duty, we have another responsibility to find another platform that can give a sense of belonging, a sense of responsibility, a sense of protection to the Nigerian people. And we look at over 40 political parties with what they have, their manifestos, their constitutions, and majority, almost 95% of the submission we got was that it is absolutely clear that people believe SDP will provide a solution to the current situation.
Okay, providing solution. Shehu, let me come in here quickly SDP because of time to ask you the last question. There are speculations that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who defected from APC to PDP, is in talks with SDP and might defect. Tell us if that is true. And then, of course, the possibility of 5 governors thereabout joining your fold as well.
Well, in specific, I'm not aware of former Vice President Atiku joining SDP, and I don't know how. Number 2, about the governors, I'm not here to disclose those that are already indicated very strong interest to be in SDP because they are stranded. So many people are stranded in APC, so many people are stranded in PDP. What we did is to provide a space for them to come so that we can move the country forward. I can tell you that there are so many people, including governors, including a lot of VIPs serving in government, that we are in a very, very close discussion with them, and we have gone very far in reaching out a very strong understanding how to move the political space forward, how to accommodate people, all shades of opinions. There are a lot of groups that are already fusing into SDP. There are a lot of political parties that have approached us. They want us to work as a team. We are ready to fuse. We are ready to have a relationship with both of them. SDP is going to be the major, fundamental, strong force in the next 2 months. And I can tell you, by God's grace, based on our policies and programs, it will produce the next president in 2019. There's no 2 ways about it, because the entire country is stranded politically, and you need people to provide a fresh leadership. And what we are doing is to provide that fresh leadership, that sense of hope, that sense of participation, that sense of reverberating the political environment once again, and give people a space to aspire to whatever position they want to aspire. So principally, that's what we are doing right now.
Okay. All right, Shehu Gabam, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Breakfast. You are the new secretary or national secretary of the SDP, the Social Democratic Party. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Aziza. Thank you.